All right, so you
I know.
is everything that you do for money.
It's every bit of it.
So
It's
why
all
are you different than me?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think there is a difference, Nate.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of getting to.
Is that everything that I do I could be doing for faith even though I'm getting paid to do it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And it kind of gets back to even what I was talking about earlier with the whole idea of love, right? Like so let's say, yeah, I'm a pastor and I'm working in this church and I'm helping with this over here and that over there and and oh look, he's doing these good things. But at the end of the day, if there's not love, it profits me nothing.
How much do you get paid now?
I am very blessed by our church family.
But you mentioned your pay at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, when we first started recording.
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
So how much do you get paid now?
I don't know if I want to go on record to say how much I get paid.
Why?
So
But you did before.
I know. That probably wasn't the smartest thing. But I get paid well, and I'm very grateful for how much I get paid.
Okie dokie.
Yep.
I don't know how much I get paid.
Yeah.
Because I get paid from 1,000 different places.
I know. Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm grateful, and we're insanely blessed. So
okay.
And
that's why you do all the things that you do.
All for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I can promise you it's not all for the money. If it was all for the money, Nate, I'd have never made it this far, this long to even make the money that I make. And so, so at one point in time, and I'm not like, I'm always been grateful for what I've gotten paid. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point in time, like my wife was working as a school teacher in the public school system,
mm-hmm.
and I was working as a pastor of a new church plant.
Okay.
And so we made at one point, so and we were doing okay right at that point. And so, but still, it's not like either of us were just like killing it,
Mm-hmm.
But neither of us were doing it because of the money either. Now, in saying that, we both had to have jobs to work and provide income, right?
Okay.
Like, and so, but she loved what she did as a teacher. I loved what I did as a pastor. I still love what I do as a pastor. She still loves what she does as a teacher, even though she gets to. She gets to stay home and homeschool the kids, and so. And we're grateful
for that. So much money.
Like I make so much, and so, but no, but for real, like we're blessed. I make well, and I'm grateful for that.
Okay, what about people that go into ministry just for money?
Man, that's a weird one for me.
Is that a faith work?
That's a weird one for me because that's like I slowly built up to this point. Does that make sense? Like to where I'm, and it's not like I'm making over $100,000 or anything, right? But like. It's like over time, like slowly, where you start out making. I think when I first started out in youth ministry, I was making less than $700 a month, and so
pointless.
Yeah, it was and so
why even cash the check?
Yeah, 700,
just throw it in the barrel.
It's like whatever.
With you and all your fingerless glove homeless buddies. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah. So anyway, but it helped. Like working as I was going full time to school and working as a part-time youth pastor, and so but even then, like in our first church, I was making $2,000 a month, and so
okay. Cash that one.
So yes, cash that one, right? It's not bad. And
in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Yeah. So and so like, and then my wife was working as a school teacher again in public school, and so and so we were we were making okay, and so probably I don't know, that would have probably been around $60,000 or so a year between both of us, and so. And so for me though, it's like I slowly, gradually got raises and that kind of thing throughout. Right?
And school teachers do not do it for the money.
I can tell you right now, they do not do it for the money. Not one of them.
Nope.
So it just ain't worth it. And so we have to deal with, especially in today's, like,
just having to be in a room full of children for
that
for
you're not
7 hours.
that you're not allowed to discipline.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the shift.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to really to discipline. God bless the individuals that serve in our schools. So, but
that's a work of faith.
that is a work. You're not
Even if
wrong.
you don't have faith, it's still a work of faith.
Right. You don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it is. And so, but like, I think so for me, like, doing ministry for the sake of the money, I mean, and I know that there are those that's why they do it.
So does God count those works as they're in ministry for the money?
No, because there's no faith involved in that sense, right?
Okay.
So that's not pleasing. In other words, they're acts of faith. There's no acts of, like, we're doing it for the money. Like, that's
Right.
not for faith. And so, in Romans chapter 14, Romans 14, the very last verse of Romans 14 says, everything that is not from faith is sin. So everything that is not from faith is sin.
Oh.
And so if you have, if
So
you're
like toothpicks, there's sin?
why would they're just inanimate objects. Like, what are you doing with these like, if you're stabbing somebody with a toothpick, that's probably sin.
Or
Not probably, that is sin.
tires? Are those sin?
They're inanimate.
They didn't come from faith.
They're inanimate. All right.
They came from Michelin.
Who knows? Maybe the person that was there helping make the tire, they were full of faith.
Okay.
Or not. But no, I mean, that's not what it's talking about, like, what is from us, like what the things we're doing, right?
Okay.
Because
Really? So everything that I don't do out of faith is sin?
Yeah.
Even if they're good stuff. So when I asked you last week, if like atheist guy does a bunch of good stuff, he's
right,
sinning because he's not doing good stuff and saying
there's absent of faith. See, that's why it doesn't profit him. That's why it doesn't.
So but it's actually a sin. It's not just that it's not good for him.
All right. So here's sin, like defining sin as missing the mark, right?
Okay.
So because that's when we're in the Greek and defining sin, it means missing the mark. It's like an arrow missing the mark of its target. Okay.
Okay.
And so if I'm an atheist and I'm doing good works, I'm still missing the mark. I'm still missing the point, because the ultimate point is to love others because we've first been loved by God. So if I'm not even aware that there's a God who loves me, or if I'm at least not going to acknowledge it,
okay,
then there is no faith in that action.
So that's a sin.
And therefore I'm still in sin regardless, right?
Oh.
So I'm in a perpetual state of that.
In sin.
Right.
It is a sin.
Well, the act is sin in the sense of, not in the sin of that it was wrong to do it, but sin as in missing the mark of why I should be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, so I think, and that's why if you've got, like, using your example, a minister and they're doing it for money, well, that's not faith, so that's sin. So God's not pleased with them, right? If there's no faith, God's, according to Hebrews 11:6, God's not pleased with them. And if there's no love for others, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, then God says, it doesn't even profit you anything, right? And so...
what would be a telltale sign of difference between someone doing it because they want money and someone doing it because they are faith?
In ministry,
yeah,
right?
Like, how would you know?
I guess it would depend on, like, because there's ministers and stuff that make more than I do, and they're making well, but that doesn't mean that they're
like
in
Joel
sin
Osteen.
or doing it for the money. Right. I mean, but like, let's say they pastor a good sized church, and I don't know, maybe they've written a book and it's become popular and they make money off of it. I'm not going to sit here and say ministers that make money are bad, right? Like, I never want to make that equate. Like, I don't ever equate that. I think the telltale sign is, how do we use that money, right?
Okay.
Like, what is that money used on? What's it used for? I think that's kind of the issue there for me.
Okay.
You know, like, so if I'm a pastor and I go buy a $2 million home, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm going to go, why'd you do that? Right?
Okay.
Because then for me, it's like, man, something's going on here. Like, something's going on here that is more than just, serving people to love God and love others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not still, and even with that, I'm not even going to sit there and say they don't love God or they don't love others. I'm just saying something with money and possessions has kind of like crept in.
We should talk about money.
Yeah, we should.
Because we've talked about greed before, but we haven't actually talked about, like, what should Christians do with money.
Yeah, and and so Jesus on
Right?
this. Oh yeah, I mean I agree with you.
Okay.
So like Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount, for example, and a lot of us have heard these things, right? But don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth, so I'm in Matthew chapter 6, verse 19, Sermon on the Mount. Don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal,
Mm-hmm.
but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves don't break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that's what I'm saying. My question to that person is, what is their treasure?
Okay.
Right? Like, what is it? Where is their
$2
heart?
million house.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell them they don't love God still, but it's just like, but what's there going on in your heart though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be really careful with this. I mean, our family, we just bought a new house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a nice house that is allowing my in-laws to come in and live with us. Like, that was the whole precipice of us purchasing a home, moving out of the parsonage we've been living in for the last few years. And so,
Which absolves you from any, wrongdoing
right
about why you purchased this house at all.
right? Because it's
If you're moving your in-laws in, then you're good.
You're good, right? And so, but I think the question would be, I mean, honestly, like, and I've even asked myself, like, when we were looking at homes and houses and going, well, why is it, this house or this house? And we were in one subdivision one time, we looked at this house and it was just huge. And I was just like, even though it might have been closer to our price range, and I was just like, man, I can't buy this house. Like, the optic alone would look terrible. Like,
the house you bought looks very, very tiny from the street, but it gets way bigger once you're inside.
yeah, like, no, if like from the street, it just looks like a nice little cottage house.
It looks like a hole.
Yeah, or I don't know if people listening will recognize this term, but like a patio home is kind of what I've referred to them as.
I just listened to you, and I have no idea what that is.
So but it's like a small, like, little cottage kind of looking house from the outside.
Yeah, but then it's like 40 stories deep, like the White House.
That's right. and by 40 stories deep, Nate means it has a basement. And that's where that's its own kind of independent living space for my in-laws. And so I'm careful with like what I say about what is too much or those kind of things, right? I think we have to be mindful of all those things. It's just that for a pastor, for a minister, we do have to be careful where our heart is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in the things that I'm after, like the money or the prestige or the status or whatever, or is it something else? This same passage goes on to say in verse 24, no one can serve two masters, since either he will hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
So you think that pastors or ministry people that do it for money hate Jesus?
I'm not saying they hate Jesus, okay?
But if they only did it for money, then that's what the verse said.
Yeah. I'm saying that they. All right. That's a good question.
Okay.
So, all right. So, like, in the Greek, so that's why I wanted to look this up. The word hate. So in the Greek, It does mean to like dislike strongly, with the implication of aversion or hostility, to hate, to detest. But it can also be used as an idiomatic phrase. For example, to kill in the heart or to spit at someone in the heart. And I think this is kind of what this is getting to. It's the idea that I'm actually, so if I'm loving one, right? So in this case, money. If I'm loving money, then there is, so my love for God, all right, or my feelings toward God are not actually pure.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, because if I say I'm a pastor serving God, right? Serving God's people, but my love is now for the money or for the power, the prestige, the whatever, right? Then I feel like I have basically exchanged, I have exchanged my love. Like, who is my love for? Well, it's not for God anymore in the self-sacrificial way of love, right?
Okay.
It's not that way anymore. Nope. I'm actually willing to sacrifice things to get the money.
Right.
And that's the issue, right?
Okay.
So it's not putting the well-being of others before self, which is what God's love would look like. No, it's not doing that. It's putting the well-being of self before others.
Okay, so what people must accuse you of only doing your good faith pastor works for money, right? Has that ever happened?
It's happened. It happened one time. And
that's it?
That I can really remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, I've been in small churches, serving in small churches most of my ministry time.
Okay.
And so
and making nothing.
And making not a whole lot. Yeah. and what was funny was, so I was the lead pastor of a small little church, and we merged with another church. Mm-hmm. And I did get accused by someone of doing it so that I could get a pay raise.
Okay.
I didn't get a pay raise.
So how do you like combat that?
I mean, you can tell people things and then they can believe you or not believe you and you move on.
Okay.
Like, honestly, like, I'm not going to sit there and try to fight or try to convince someone of something they're just never going to be convinced of.
Is there ever, like, do you ever have an issue with yourself about it?
About
now?
What? Oh, about right now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. Because like
does the church having a lot of money, or you making a lot of money because the church has a lot of money, does that ever like get in your head and you go that direction instead of the direction that you want, that you should go?
No.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be like prideful. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and go, but like,
right. It's an impossible question.
Right. Well,
because you're sitting no matter how you answer.
Yeah, I know. And so, well played. And so, but for me, I genuinely.
But like, everything you do is a sin.
Yeah.
At your job.
If that was the case. Yeah.
No, I mean, all the, we've talked about this before.
Right.
You're just constantly sitting at your job because you're pissing everybody off.
I'm pissing everybody else. Yes. I'm offending everybody all the time. And so, no, I think that for me, again, probably because I've been in this, the smaller church world,
Okay.
Like, I didn't even start, I never even had like a church entity contributing to like an IRA, until like a year and a half ago, And so like my point just being is, it's not like I was sitting around making all this money with all these benefits, right?
Okay.
I'm not knocking any of that. Like, but I genuinely,
except for the sweet espresso machine and the
in my espresso machine, he means Keurig.
Yeah. There's an espresso button. I have no idea what goes on in your office.
I love a good Keurig.
Yeah.
And so, I guess for me, it's like, you don't. I don't do it for the money. And if I'd wanted to make a whole lot of money, then I wouldn't have done this profession, to be quite honest with you. Right. So for me, that's just the reality of it.
You could have started a cult.
Well, I guess that's one thing I could have done. I don't know.
For Christ.
Yeah. Nate's favorite phrase.
You told me about it, and now I'm thinking about it all the time.
I know. Yeah. No.
So do you know pastors that get accused of this? Like,
oh yeah,
or like, do you know pastors that make like a lot more than you do, but you know they still don't do it for the money?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay,
yeah. Like I've got yes, and yes.
Okay.
Like I've got people in my life that I know that are like, let's say 20 years older than me. So they're a lot further along in the ministry. They've been doing it for a long time. They make pretty well and that kind of thing. And man, they just love Jesus. Like at the end of the day, they really love Jesus. They're not in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so I know, yeah, absolutely. I know people who make a good bit more than I do, good benefits, and just really love Jesus. And here's what's wild. I do know someone, and they were like straight up like accused by church members in their church for man, this is wild. But anyway, they were so like the church members brought up this pastor had bought a new vehicle. Okay. And so like, and he had some members like basically like, well, isn't it good for you to be rolling in the money and all that kind of stuff. The dude was, because of his,
I'm not rolling in the money. I'm rolling in the new
this
Ford F-350.
Right. Well, because of his wife's job, he was giving his salary back to the church.
Oh.
He was quote unquote taking a salary and then giving it right back.
Oh, in tithes?
And and just giving it straight back to them.
For Christ. And
I know several pastors that, I know like several pastors that do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so their spouse makes really good money. And so they either choose not to take a salary, or if they do, they give a large portion of it back. And so like, but they're not going to advertise that. They're not going to stand up and be like, oh, by the way, just want all of y'all to know how spiritual I am and how much I love Jesus. I give all my money back to you. Right?
Just like Trump.
Just like Trump, refusing to take the salary.
Yeah.
And so, oh God. And so, but like, and so they really love the Lord, but
what a role model.
Yeah. And like, but I also know that they get, it's just.
So what does he do with that though?
What do you mean?
Like the church members accusing him. Like, does he say, hey, no, I don't take a salary to them?
Yeah. I mean,
does he tell them that? Or does he?
If it's so hard, because like, if you're just not taking a salary, I think you can say that. You can say like, I'm not even taking a salary, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is not because of like this. In other words, I'm not buying new things or whatever that you think is so wrong and improper for a pastor to have. Like, which is kind of crazy to begin with, but it is the reality. Like, we live in a fishbowl, right? People look at us, they view us in certain ways, and I get it. And so, so here comes this pastor with a nice truck and, lives in a nice house. And you're like, well, man, must be nice to be, or whatever, And so, but if you're not taking a salary, like, I probably would tell them, I'm not even taking a salary. But if you're taking one and giving it back to the church, right? Like, yeah. I don't know. You might feel like that's something that's between you and the Lord, and and maybe a couple people in your life know about it, but that's it. And you're just like, no, I'm giving it back, right? And you may want to keep it that way, like where you're not going to just tell everybody about it. So I guess it can get a little dicey for that pastor at that point. And so, yeah. And then I know other pastors who are just like crazy generous. Like, they don't talk about it. They don't, and they make good, right? They make good money, but they're crazy generous with people. So
like, what would you do if someone came and you bought the house and someone saw it and was like, well, it must be nice? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean,
someone that went to your church.
Yeah, I would. For me, what I have already done, I've been pretty honest about it and upfront about it.
Okay.
Like, and so
you have to tell everyone at your church.
Like,
if you're going to buy a new car.
Well, no, but will you get looks and questions and that kind? Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I have taken different approaches with things. Okay. The house is a big purchase,
just
right?
Get a new car, but like chip the paint.
Yeah.
all over it. But on the inside, it's just beautiful leather.
I'm going to key my own car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, like I think I've taken different stances with it. Like with the house, I've been pretty upfront with people. Like, you know, because it is a space like that's a little larger because of a lot of my in-laws to come in. But I've been pretty honest with, hey, you know, like this wouldn't even be possible if it wasn't for my dad's passing a couple of years ago and us receiving some inheritance from that.
Okay.
Like, I've been pretty honest and upfront with that. Like, we wouldn't be able to afford this home.
So you pull the dead dad card on him.
Yeah, and that sounds like whatever, but it's just the truth, right? Like,
okay.
I would never have been able to afford, you know, a down payment on this house if it had not been for that.
Okay.
And so, like, I don't mind saying that out loud, right?
Okay.
Like, because I do think it helps.
So everyone at church just knows all your finances.
A lot of them do.
Really?
Like, yeah, and like, you know, and it's just going to get more and more because the board knows how much I make, and we roll off board members every year. We roll off 2 board members and 2 new members come on, and so every year 2 new people are discovering how much I make. And so,
is that systemic that way, or is that just happenstance that 2 board members leave and 2 come on?
No, we created it that way.
Oh,
yeah. So board members serve 3-year terms, and so because there's 6 board members outside of myself. There's 6 board members, and so they serve 3-year terms. And
so if you don't keep growing, eventually I get to be one.
That's the goal for you to be one day.
I'll be last. Who's on the list? Oh shit.
All we have left is this guy. We've run out of all other options.
Hey! New espresso machine.
Right. Well, one good thing is that if you've rolled off the board, once you stay off a year, you're eligible to come back on if you want to.
Oh.
Not that if you want to, but like if people nominate you and that kind of thing, you can come back on. So Nate, you're probably safe not being on the board. Just putting you at ease.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
And so yeah, but like but for the same thing, like, all right, so like we bought a car a couple of years ago, and we bought it specifically because it's the nicest car we've ever bought, and we bought it specifically because of the safety features for my son who has epilepsy.
Oh,
and so it, you know, if he's driving, it has the safety features to keep him safe and others safe.
So you bought a Tesla?
Didn't buy a Tesla.
Okay.
Although I'm not gonna lie, but like this is also in full transparency. Like I'm like whether it's a Tesla or something else, like they've created this like crazy, just crazy stuff in Teslas, where they do like infrared with your eyes, and they can tell if you're having a seizure, and the car will actually take over at that point, and so it vibrates the steering wheel, and if you don't respond to it. It takes over the Tesla takes over the car, puts your
puts you in self-driving
emergency lights on, pulls you over to the side of the road, and calls 911.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's crazy, dude.
I mean, you have to get a Tesla.
And so Tesla's already doing that. And so I'm not gonna lie, like in a couple of years when my son's like going off to school and stuff, I'm not saying it's the Tesla, but hopefully something similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean that's like. For a child who has epilepsy,
yeah,
that's like the dream car.
Yeah,
and so or the self-driving, right? Yeah. Where he doesn't even have to drive.
Yeah,
he just puts the GPS where he needs to go, and it just keeps everybody safe, including himself, right? And so anyway, so what I'm saying is there are things that I would be willing to do to spend money on things but I'm wanting to spend money on things for reasons and purposes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I guess that's more of where I'm coming from. Like, I want to know the why of things because I think the why of something matters. And so
you can buy a Ferrari and just switch out the logo on the front.
Yeah. Honda.
Yeah.
Right.
Or not I don't think Honda. That's a Honda.
A Hyundai?
Yeah.
What?
Hyundai.
Yeah. So anyway,
you should buy a Tesla.
Yeah.
I endorse you.
You endorse me to do that?
As a future board member.
Well, you know, there's kind of the movement of like, you know, people buying Teslas.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe we'll join the crowd. I don't know. But
anyway, I want a Tesla also.
Yeah. You do want a Tesla.
I do.
Yeah.
But I more want a robot.
You want the robot and the Tesla,
Yeah,
and possibly the robot driving the Tesla.
Yeah. The robot driving. The calls coming from inside the house.
You want the robot like opening your door for you and stuff.
Yeah. Opening the door to my self-driving car. No. I know it can do it itself, but I want you.
I want you to do it.
Yeah.
They're making you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Come here, I'm gonna go push my fingerprint on your finger. We're standing there in front of open it.
Ain't got all day. Yeah. So, anyway, so the why matters, right?
Yeah.
The why matters of things. It's like, where is my heart? Where's my heart in this? Like, so if I'm buying this vehicle, where's my heart in this? If I'm buying this car or this house, excuse me, where's my heart in this?
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that was not just true for like those kind of big things. Like, it can be other things as well. Like, what has my heart, right? And so there are people who don't buy like huge, big, expensive stuff, but they may be just addicted to buying, I don't know, trading cards or maybe they're hooked on gambling or whatever, right? Like, and it's just like you can find yourself connected to things, and that's got your heart.
Okay.
And so the question really is, where is your heart in this?
So when you're a pastor and you want to spend all your money, you have to do it in like non-physical ways.
Well, I mean, again, if you do it in the physical ways, right? If you do it in the house and the cars, like, just know you're going to be asked why by people.
Okay.
And they may not ask you, but they may be asking themselves,
So Joel Osteen and his giant plantation.
Yeah.
Like
that's just like
is that always wrong for him to have that?
Unless it's like, I'll put it this way. Unless it's like family land, family money that's passed down, right? Okay. Like, I get that. That's going to happen.
He wasn't allowed to buy it,
but
he had to get given it by his parents.
But if you just are choosing to purchase extravagant properties and homes and private jets and all that stuff, like what are we doing? Like,
so that you think that's never okay? There's never a good answer that Joel Osteen could give. That,
all right, I will say this.
Didn't he do a podcast a few weeks ago where he was talking about this?
I don't know.
Or was that him or somebody else?
Did he? I don't know.
I can't remember. I'm going to cut that part out.
Yeah, but I will say this. For me, if we're talking about Joel Osteen specifically, like, no, man.
I'm not really saying Joel Osteen specifically, but what
someone like him.
Yeah, someone like him.
Here's the problem with like Joel Osteen and those like him. They believe in a health and wealth gospel. They believe in a prosperity gospel,
which is wrong.
Which is just wrong.
Okay,
it's just antithetical to the gospel itself. Because they believe that if you're really a true believer, you really have faith, then you're going to get a bunch of stuff.
So does he believe that him purchasing that house or a private jet or something is a work of faith?
That's
because of what they actually believe.
Correct. Because I get to do this. Like,
see how I finally brought it back to the topic?
Yeah, there you go. Because like I've in other words, like, I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
That God wants me to have these things.
Right.
Right.
So when I do this, it's a work of faith to go purchase them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm living in faith because I'm receiving this much money.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I understand.
Yeah. It's like they're equating their faithfulness to God with how much monetary blessing they've received.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that always wrong?
No, it's not always wrong. The question is, what are we doing with it? Right?
Okay.
Like, I know a lot of individuals that are very wealthy and make a lot of money. It's, what do we do with it? Right?
What if I'm just really good? Like, what if?
And let me say this too. I do think, and people may not like this, but I do think there's also a distinction between a minister of the gospel and everybody else in regards to this.
Okay, so I can have as much money as I want, but
no,
you can't.
No. I think pastors can make as much money. That's fine. But what you do with it screams so loud to the rest of the world that's the issue. Like, so in other words, for Joel Osteen, all these people are looking on and going, really? Like, this guy? But all I'm saying is that as a minister of the gospel, you are seen in a different light. You're viewed by people, especially the non-believer, in a different light.